excellent life coach. And the best part about you is you are experienced in doing it. And to top it off, you go and actually seek it out to even better yourself. That's qualities that the average person doesn't have, and you constantly hold yourself accountable and constantly seek to get to better yourself. Where did that start? Where did that start where you was constantly trying to improve yourself?
Well, honestly, Paul, that started when I was in prison. Because I looked up and I was doing a half a decade in the joint, right?
Right.
And I looked up and I didn't like the results that I got in my life.
Right.
No matter how fly I was, no matter how thorough I was, no matter how people knew me, right?
Right.
I was in the mountains, locked away for a long ass time. And
Right.
ain't none of that stuff matter.
Dang.
ain't none of the money I got, none of the things I did, none of the fly cars I drove, none of the none of the people I was thorough with. Ain't none of that stuff matter.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It was just you doing your time.
And that was it. The closest thing to being dead. You know what I mean? So I realized that, and I was like, damn. You know, I realized that all the things that I had did, nobody else, but all the things that I had did, led me to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have stopped and changed at any time, but I just didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't dig deep enough.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I started to really want to change myself, and that's when I wanted to really be a different person so I could get different results. And you know, when I came home, that's what I did.
But it's interesting because even though you took a different route, you got better than expected results because you haven't changed the fact that you've always been a dude who got money. That's just how you do. You know what I mean? But now you just do it legally. I'm always impressed by it. Hence why I think that, again, you're an excellent coach for me trying to better myself. And listening to you is a major asset because, again, you've always done that. But what would you say to people out there who are trying to change, who was forced to grow up at Hunting Park in a house with like 4 brothers, maybe 3 sisters, being raised by my grandmother. Mm-hmm. I never had to experience that. What would you say to somebody in 2022 who has to deal with something like that and the influences around them showing them that that's the best way to make money is in the streets?
Well, it's not.
Right.
It's number one, it's not. It don't lead to nothing but destruction of your life, the penitentiary, or being in the grave.
Right.
You know, either you gonna kill somebody or somebody gonna kill you. They gonna give you 1,000 years in a joint, and it ain't gonna work out for you. Many have tried before you. Ain't nothing you gonna be able to do different that's not gonna give you them outcomes.
Facts.
Period.
Facts.
So it ain't the route to go. It ain't fly. You know, you ain't gonna get nothing out of it.
Right.
You know, you might get some money for a year or 2, but then they're gonna give you 20.
Yeah.
So it ain't worth it.
Right.
It ain't worth it. And all them people you thought you was cool with, all the women you talking about you was in love with, and they was in love with you. After year 2 of you being in that joint for 20, they gonna be with another man.
Facts.
Period.
Facts.
Whatever you say, whatever they say, that's the facts. You know?
Right.
They married to the game.
Right.
They ain't married to you. So when you going and you out the game, they out of you.
Damn.
Period.
And nobody gonna do your time with you.
No, not at all. Not at all. Now, if you're doing a year or 2 or something, that's different. But once you talk about 4 and 5 and more, that's over with, man.
But even a year in prison is a long time.
They'll be with
bro.
Johnny and Billy and whoever else they in and out of, man.
Right.
But regardless of how you grow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
we can't focus on like the things that we see in face value, man. We gotta focus on expanding our minds and growing and knowing that it's more than what's in our neighborhood. It's more than what's just in our city. There's other things to see, man. And nowadays, like, we didn't have that back in the day, Paul, 20, 30 years ago. We didn't have, like, social media. We didn't have Instagram, and we didn't have the internet to jump on and Google all these different things across the world and all these different business ideas and all this different information, right?
Right.
If we wanted to learn something, we had to go to the library, search for the book, and try to check the book out if it was there.
Yes.
Depending on the topic we wanted to research. Nowadays, you don't have to do none of that stuff. All you got to do is Google any topic or anything you want to know or any question that you have, and you can research all that stuff.
Right.
So, the young folks today and old folks, you got access to information at your fingertips that has never been around. So, you got to really know that it's a bigger picture, man. You can do whatever you want, you know, in life.
Man.
And you got to stay focused on it, though. Us as black people and minorities and people who grew up in poverty and come from the streets,
Right.
we got to understand, Paul, that we got an advantage over everybody else. We got an advantage over people in the common world who grew up with everything, because they don't know how to grind. They don't know how to struggle.
Right.
They don't know what it is to scrap and scrape. They don't know what it is to have, you know, roaches in a cereal box. They don't know what it is to eat Croco Crunch. You know, with the alligator on the box and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When your peoples couldn't afford Captain Crunch.
Right.
So you had to get the Croco Crunch with the alligator, and your mom would tell you, shut up, it's the same thing. Right. You know what I mean? Put some sugar on it, it's all the same.
Right.
They ain't had to grow up like that. So when you get into business and when you get into the workforce and the corporate world and stuff like that, others that you won't be around, they don't have the grit that you have. They don't have the work ethic that you have. They haven't been through the struggles that you've been through. So naturally, your skin is tougher.
Facts.
So we can go through more, and we can bear and deal with more than they can, which allows us to have greater outcomes.
Right.
Because they not used to going through nothing. They ain't been through nothing. So as soon as they go through something in business, as soon as they go through something in the workforce, as soon as they go through something on the job or in the corporate world, they struggle to deal with it. They buckle, they fold.
Right.
No, us, we used to adversity.
Right.
We was born in it. That's like people keep talking about this recession stuff and all that. It ain't no recession for me.
Right.
It was a recession when my mom was working 3 jobs and I was 5 years old and my brother was 10 and he had to take care of me.
Right.
And my mom wasn't nowhere to be found and I never knew who my father was and we ain't had no money.
Right.
That was the recession.
Facts. Facts. And that goes in what you're saying already.
That was the recession. So right now, y'all can keep worrying about that stuff and what the news saying. No, we've been in a recession. We was born in a recession as black folks and as minorities.
Facts.
Don't be listening to what these people saying on TV. They in a recession because the millions shortening up. We ain't.
Right.
Where we're at.
Right.
So you got to understand what's going on around you, man.
Right.
I was born in a recession. We all were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wasn't nothing profitable about Huntington Park in the 80s, Paul.
Not at all.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People was dying and getting raped and women was getting killed in the park every day.
Damn straight. All for the love of money.
Yeah. So we been living in them times, Paul. We ain't grow up in mansions and you know, Mom and dad, mom had the Jaguar and dad had the Mercedes and all that kind of stuff. No, we ain't grow up like that. They did. So that's why things start tightening up. They start talking about we in a recession.
Right.
We never had stocks.
Facts.
So, if they drop, what we got to do with that? We didn't grow up like that.
Right.
We grew up with nothing. So I just say all that to say that we know how to bite down. We know how to grit our teeth. We know how to go through adversity because that's how we grew up. So we got to know once we get into business and once we strive to get education and get different types of degrees, whether it's your bachelor's, your master's, your doctorate, special certifications and stuff like that. We got more grit than everybody else in the classroom.
Facts.
We got more grit than everybody else in the boardroom. Why you think you got the 50 Cents and the Jay-Z's out of the world?
Right.
Because we come from the slums.
Right.
We come from adversity and we come from poverty. So when we put in these situations, when we sit across the table from these other people, they can't stand what we bring.
Right.
We can go through everything. And then once you realize that stuff, when you in the rooms, you take advantage of it. Because we natural sharks. Because you had to be that way when you from the streets.
Facts. I'm happy you mentioned 50 Cent. I was watching, I remember Get Rich Die Trying, the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was one scene where he's breaking down how much money he was earning off the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying what looked like it was a lot of money, really wasn't, because if you did prison time, it's less than minimum wage.
Exactly.
When you really broke that shit down on a movie, that's a major influence. That was the honest truth. And I hope a lot of people can take wind of that and actually see that your perspective and mindset gotta change for you to be able to take advantage of everything you're talking about.
Yeah,
you got there.
Yeah, you gotta think totally different, man.
Right.
Ain't nothing out here in these streets, and it's designed for you to go to jail.
Facts.
It's designed for you to be stripped away from your family and your kids and never see the light of day again. They want to keep us ignorant. You know?
What's one of the main things you would hear in prison about people making excuses for themselves? If any.
I don't even know. I can't even say excuses.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even say excuses because a lot of people ain't had no excuses. It was what it was. They
Right.
did what they did, and they was going to do it again. A lot of them.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But the main issue was ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
And like I always say, Paul, ignorance ain't a bad thing. It's just lack of knowledge.
Facts.
So my big thing with our people and minorities alike, man, and just, people from the inner city is just educating yourself, man. And the only way to educate yourself is to study, is to read, is to go to school, is to try to go to college, is to try to advance. You know what I mean?
And listen.
And listen.
And listen.
I can coach. You know why, Paul? Because I've been coached.
How about that?
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta be a student before you can teach.
Facts. Facts.
You gotta be a student before you can teach.
And it's funny because in listening,
You gotta follow before you can lead anybody. So if you ain't willing to follow nobody, you ain't gonna be able to lead nobody.
Facts.
See what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be able to coach nobody if you can't be coached first.
Facts.
So we always thought the straight-laced person was a square, right? But the squares don't get taken away from their families. The squares watch their parents get old. The squares don't lay down in the penitentiaries with rats and mice and all that kind of stuff. The squares go home to their families every day.
And the interesting part about the square part of it being African American, I've always been a square. So that means taking a hard route. Taking a hard route is just seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, well, like I was saying the other day, it's easy to do the wrong thing.
Right.
That's easy. It's hard to do the right thing.
Fact.
Yeah.
That's a
I
fact.
took the easy route a lot.
Yeah, I love the fact you came out cleaner on the other side.
Yeah, it's hard to do the right things, man. But we can do the right things. We can, just like everybody else. It just take a little bit more effort. It just take a little bit more grit.
And it does take a perspective change.
You know?
You gotta recognize everybody's a coach, yo. And there's bad coaches and good coaches.
I give you an example, right, of what these dudes on the street don't get, right?
Mm-hmm.
We used to stand on the block all day back in the day, right?
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We used to stand on the block till the sun came up.
Right.
4 or 5 o'clock in the morning till the sun came up, and then still sit out there.
Right.
Go in the house, get a couple hours of sleep, come back out.
Right.
Stay up 2-3 days, right?
Right.
Standing on the corners, everybody selling this, selling that. Women coming and going and all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the advantages when you from the street that you can have in the workforce, in the business world, in the corporate world. Because when I got in the business part,
Mm-hmm.
I stay in the office all day.
Word. Yep. Like I used to block.
I stay in the office all day, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
From 8 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night. And they used to be like, yo, go home. Go home, go to sleep, be back in the office at 8 o'clock, fresh to death, and to stay all night till it was dark.
Right.
Grinding. And those are the things that allow me to be successful, because I looked around and it was like, damn, I used to do this on the street. But then I looked around and everybody else in the office, they wasn't cut like that. They was going home. They was complaining. They was tired.
Do me a favor real quick. Shout out your business.
Shout out to Tri-State Properties. You can check us out, www.tristate-properties.com. We got some good content on there. We doing blogs every week, different things about real estate, how you can sell your home for cash, pros and cons of selling your house cash to an investor or listing it on the market. We buy houses for cash as is. If your house is in great shape, I can get it listed for you. Get with us. Check us out on Facebook, tristateproperties.com. We're on Instagram. Check us out on the web also, www.tristateproperties.com.
Antoine's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So you have a lot of wisdom to give, so I can't wait to see your next step in this business. I know it's going to thrive like everything else you've been doing. Everything.
Appreciate it.
Everything.
Yeah, appreciate
Yeah, so Twine, the beautiful part about Twine giving this wisdom out is Twine subconsciously, literally, is wired to just get money. This is how he's always been wired. I mean, he got money in the streets, and also, I mean, he did his time in prison and literally changed his whole entire life around. Now he just gets money legally. You know what I mean? His mindset has changed to how he goes about getting his bread, and I just love seeing the growth and progression. And hence, he's an excellent coach, excellent teacher, excellent. So I say all to say, when you get in this kind of game, yo, just take heed and listen. Understand it's why I've been where you were, right? Worse. You know what I'm saying? And you made it through on top, so you can listen to Twine and not have to make the mistakes that he did, because Twine's a person who's gonna grow from his mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's gonna be built to do that. So how about you just take heed now, so you don't gotta make any mistakes, or at least those kind of mistakes. You know what I mean? But for you, looking back, Twine, I don't even consider them to be mistakes, considering how you changed everything about yourself. Because of your mindset.
Yeah, well, before me changing, Paul, they were mistakes though.
Got you.
See, you gotta see what we don't do, right?
Yeah.
We don't hold ourselves accountable.
Facts.
You can't move forward, right?
Right.
If you're not holding yourself accountable for the things that you're doing.
That's a fact.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, we do all these things and we kill each other and we sell this and we sell that and you know, we treat our family like nothing and don't do nothing for our kids and all this. So we get high. They smoke weed and they smoking dust and you know all this. They pop pills and all this old kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they still want change. No, you gotta hold yourself accountable and say, these are the things that I'm doing wrong. I'm wrong. I shouldn't have did this. This is wrong. If you can't do that,
can't grow.
You can't grow. You can't get past it. You gotta tell yourself, I'm an addict.
Facts.
I'm not a good person.
Facts.
People used to always say, man, you're a good person, man, you're a good person. Yeah, I'm a good person, but I keep selling drugs and getting caught for it.
Right.
And they sending me to jail.
Yeah.
And if I keep doing it, based on the laws, I'm gonna end up with 30, 40 years just for drugs.
Right.
Period. Because that's what the laws are.
Right.
So I had to hold myself accountable and say, damn, I did it to myself.
But you know what too?
You see what I'm saying? So in order to get over that and in order to begin to change, I had to tell myself, yo, this is what I did wrong. Damn, I can't do that no more. These are the things that I'm doing wrong. You gotta hold yourself accountable with anything, man. And once you get used to doing that, when you start changing yourself, when you start getting better and doing better in life, in order to continually grow and scale up, you gotta hold yourself accountable.
Facts.
I ain't do this. I should have did this yesterday. I ain't worked hard enough. I ain't put in enough effort.
Word.
I gotta do this better. Because
Right.
you're not holding yourself. You gotta hold yourself accountable. And you gotta surround yourself around other people that's gonna hold you accountable too.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because not only is the self-talk, it's the good people around you with the support and good people around you that can say, hey man, you want this, but you ain't doing X, Y, and Z.
Facts.
What's going on with that? You told me you wanted this. You told me you wanted me to hold you accountable. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but again, everybody's a coach. There's good coaches and there's bad coaches, but you gotta be coachable, meaning you gotta be able to listen and understand and recognize when you see a bad coach and when you see a good coach, and that all comes from listening, yo. You know you're getting bad advice. You know you're getting bad advice when you know, based off of what Antoine just explained to you, now we can hold you accountable. You can hold yourself accountable. You can seek out good mentors based off of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you can do that. So
I hold myself accountable with everything, even in business, because I gotta look at my bank account and I gotta say, damn, what's going on? Oh, this thing ain't rising, or my assets ain't my assets, you know, aren't getting better. I'm not acquiring more things and property and stuff like that. My bank account ain't coming up. I ain't got no more money in stocks or whatever the case may be. But that's my thing. Right. But I gotta hold myself accountable and say, oh, you know, things aren't growing, so I gotta do something different. What am I doing wrong? Because you know, that's the goal in life and anything is to grow.
it's progression.
Hey, if you ain't growing, if you're not growing, you're going backwards. I don't care what you're doing.
If you ain't growing, you deteriorating, meaning you dying. That's a fact.
Yeah, it don't matter what you're doing. You gotta be growing, man. That's just the reality of it, Paul. Honestly.
You know, I was riding to the shop and I was thinking about previous conversation we had, along with post-traumatic slave syndrome, right? Well, crazy part about what's happening right now, yo. A white supremacist won't even have the balls to come in Philadelphia, literally lynch you in front of your mom, your uncle, your aunt, in broad daylight, lit up 100 rounds in the community. But a lot of people are suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome. They really out here doing the KKK's bidding. You know what I mean? Like, just really practicing self-hate.
Well, Paul, and this is one of my strong opinions, like I told you before, right? And this is my feelings, right? From what I've gotten, right? And, you know, a lot of people may be upset. A lot of people may be, you know, offended, but it's my feelings, right? I can feel however I want to feel.
Absolutely.
Those are the issues why we kill each other so much, right? When they start killing us, they look at it like, why is it a big deal? You know what I mean? You know, the Black Lives Matter movement and all that kind of stuff. They look at it like y'all kill each other every day, so why should Black Lives matter? We got to start caring about us, man.
And you know what? And that has to start on an individual basis. And the crazy part about what you're saying too, a lot of people, they're like, yo, I get with you working out all the time. I don't work out, bro. I practice self-love. That's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
The hard route is a sacrifice, dog. Like that's what we're talking about too. Like that's the hard route. I'm sacrificing. I mean, I don't gotta have all the thorough shit right now. That comes over time, but I can measure my results and look at that and know I took the hard route and reap rewards from that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying also say, look, what you're saying is 100% correct. A lot of us have been conditioned to hate ourselves, and you see it manifesting the way it does, in these streets. But now you are aware of that. You can, if you can't read, go to the podcast. It's always personal in Philadelphia, and learn more about post-traumatic slave syndrome. And once you learn that, though, I'm gonna hold you accountable. You can be held accountable. Once you learn something, like you already talked about being ignorant is lack of knowledge. So once you are educated, you can be held accountable by other people around you and yourself. But to exist and to constantly want to stay ignorant, stay from around me, bro. Like those that's why I only invite certain people into my barbershop, and not everybody gonna actually take the time out to hold themselves accountable and actually want to better themselves via getting information in an information age, yo.
Yeah, facts.
So, I mean, with that again, so I appreciate every time you come to the shop, because every time you come to the shop, I'm gonna learn something new about how to even hold myself accountable and work.
Yeah, a lot of these, and I appreciate that. A lot of these dudes out here, man, whether young or old, like I was sharing with you, you can wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? Forget about the past, right? Forget about the friends. Forget about my old dealings, right? Forget about the way that I was, right? I'm gonna start the day and do a new thing in my life, and I'm gonna change. And from this day on, I'm gonna reinvent myself and do some things different.
Word.
And do it one day at a time and make every day a success, right?
Right.
And focus on that one day, and you look up 6 months later, a year later, 3 years later, those 6 months, that year, those 3 years were a success.
Facts.
But you gotta take it one day at a time. You can't look too much in the future, and you just can't look in the past, and you gotta focus on, reinventing yourself and focus on change.
Facts. And you gotta also be honorable, bro. Like,
see, we think messed up.
How about this? To your point,
we think wrong.
Facts.
Our whole thinking is wrong. Our whole mentality is wrong.
I just came from a new crib, right? I just came from a new crib, and unfortunately, I had one contract shop. My man Maurice Electrical. He's amazing. One of the best contractors I've ever been around in this experience, right? I hired a Hispanic boy for my mudding and taping work. That's super diligent, super thorough. I just came left the crib, giving more tape than he asked for. He actually, another contractor I had, unfortunately, was an African American dude. You know what I'm saying? Walls crooked. The boy I hired fixed everything that he messed up. Super diligent, super thorough. I went in there today to pay him for fixing the wall and getting me supplies for tape. My man had his whole family in that joint, wife and maybe a sister on their knees working on the crib. Their whole mentality is all for one, one for all. We need that. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know what I mean? Like,
what was he doing, drywall?
He was doing drywall, mudding and taping, all of that. Twiz is immaculate. But how you saying like there, like we gotta change our mentality. Yo, ain't no reason why you letting somebody else outside your community eat your lunch. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But there's no reason why that I should be able to go to anybody in my community, hire you for mudding and taping. But you know what? I'll gladly play ball. He's an honorable man. We gotta change that. My uncle Ralph, he was saying, "Oh, we gotta leave respect alone." He said, we gotta elevate to honor, dog. Because people, it's so easy for somebody to say, "Well, I killed him because he disrespected me." No, man. We gotta be honorable people out here.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So Ralph is the same, y'all the same dude, y'all the same exact person. You know what I'm saying? It's completely hold yourself accountable, you know what I mean? And willing to be in uncomfortable situations. It's uncomfortable to tell people you made mistakes in the past and you need help. That's uncomfortable. We gotta start doing that.
Yeah. And then, also, man, you gotta be humble, man. You gotta display humility.
Facts.
Because, you can break any barrier in that, and you can scale up to do whatever you want to do. It goes back to what I was saying about being coached. Like, you gotta be able to serve before you can lead.
Facts. Hold on, real quick, Twan. I blew right here. I don't want any of this to get in the way with the concept. Hold that thought. Finish that thought, Twan, please.
Yeah, like I was saying about in order to coach somebody else, you gotta be humble enough to be coached first.
Facts.
And let somebody coach you and listen and be a student, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that goes with anything else outside of that, like in business, in the workforce. You gotta know how to be a servant first and learn how to serve before you could lead. And a lot of us, we don't want to serve nobody. A lot of us, we don't want to be servants. We think that's beneath us, or we can find an easier route in the street, or we worth more than all that. We worth more than that, and all that kind of stuff. But you gotta start somewhere.
Facts.
You gotta start somewhere. You may have to take the trash out for a year or two, right? Mm-hmm. You may have to clean the dumpster out for 6 months to a year, or even 2, before you can own the whole store.
You know what's crazy? All right, prime example.
You see what I'm
I'm
saying?
gonna flesh this out for you. When I was in Toronto, in Canada, learning how to cut. My man Justin, shout out to my man Justin, shout out to my man Jay. So my man Justin, I cut my own hair before getting into his chair. You saw that the job wasn't that bad. And he was like, "You ever thought about cutting hair?" I said, "No." "Would you want to learn?" "Yes." "How much you gonna charge me?" "Nothing. But you're gonna have to take out the trash, you're gonna have to mop the floors, you're gonna have to clean the bathroom." You know what I said? That's it?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta do?
Mm-hmm.
Done. 6 months later, not only I own the shop, I own the building.
See?
I mean, not 6 months later I learned how to cut. It didn't take 6 months for me to do everything that you see here.
Yeah, but now you own the building.
Word, but
you
also,
see what I'm saying? And you own your own shop.
But also, having good coaches around me, having Twan around me, we talking outside. I still have a lot of improvement I gotta make in my life, and that means I gotta hold myself accountable, dog. Like,
hey, that's all. And you gotta take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
One thing I was taught that helped me a lot, like I said before, if you take every task that you're doing each day, don't worry about the next day, because the day at hand has enough within itself, right? And that's biblical scripture also, right? You can't be worrying about tomorrow and just try to take every day one at a time and make each day a success.
Word.
Focus on the day. Focus on the things that you're doing within that hour or the next 3-4 hours, and make that a success. Make that a win, right?
Right.
And you do that every day and look up. After a year, that whole year is going to be a success.
Facts.
Because you focused on every remedial little thing to make it a W, to make it a success.
Right. And that can relate to almost. I remember when I was overweight, doing one
See?
push-up a day,
See?
doing 10 push-ups a day.
See?
That's something small you can focus on. I mean, anything, dog. Like, we gotta also talk about how you can manage stress, because a lot of times we do gotta deal with people at work who will stress you out. You know what I mean? But you gotta figure out ways around that too. And that's just controlling your mind and understanding, look, it ain't that deep. None of that shit is that deep, and it's all temporary. Even in those struggling moments, this is all temporary, and it all builds character.
Yup.
Keep you on wide as possible, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Oh, I mean, managing stress, whatever your religious beliefs are, depending on, what you believe in and stuff like that, prayer is powerful. So whatever you believe in, spending time in whatever your prayer is, right?
Word.
If you don't believe in a higher power or you don't believe in a God, then you need to look up some kind of meditation.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Start meditating during the day, and that stuff, takes your stress out. Whether you working out, you doing cardio, or you just taking a walk, whether it's winter or summer, you can take walks and stuff like that to clear your mind, and manage that stuff. And don't take stuff too deeply, man.
Right.
Life is what it is, man. Bad things that happen, it's only one incident.
Right.
So we can't take that stuff, too serious, man.
Yeah, because you want to take it out on somebody who ain't nothing to do with the shit, like.
Yeah, or you take it out on yourself. Stress kills.
Or your family, like.
Yeah, or you take it out on yourself. You stressing yourself out. You ain't eating right. You ain't sleeping right. Stress causes disease.
Right.
So.
It's interesting. You, like, getting into that. Like, I wake up in the morning, right? And I leave my crib. And the first thing I think to myself is how I can be of service to my community. And how I can do that is be patient. A lot of people are really unconscious riding around. They are stressed out. And I recognize they're stressed out. And they do stuff that's erratic, irrational, and just dangerous sometimes. But my main objective is to be patient, That's the only thing I can do. That's the best thing. It keeps me grounded. And helps me navigate through everything. Because not only do we got to deal with stress and stuff like that at work, we got to deal with that in our community. So you got to figure out a way to kind of reposition that in your mind to get you through it. And that's how I do it. I mean, unfortunately, we live in a dangerous city. And I personally find that by me doing that, actually, I get a lot of respect in my community because of that. So I'm trying to go on my way to be patient and speak to me. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, dog, even in our neighborhoods, Twine, things could be so rough that even a smile for some people, dog, is enough to like help them get through their situation. Like, you know what I mean? Just saying hi to somebody real quick help. You know what I mean? Like, damn, that shit ain't always that bad. Like, you'd be surprised. The smallest of things, dog, could really change somebody. But just that, that comes from, like you said, having humility. I mean, being patient and taking that on one day at a time, dog. Like.
And it's funny that you mentioned, like, the smallest little things, like smile, can help somebody along and can change things, right?
Mm-hmm.
That goes for us too.
Facts.
The smallest adjustments that you think may be minute or minimal,
right,
can change things in your life. So, just the smallest adjustments, man. The smallest things that you think about, right?
Right.
Turning them small negative things in a positive thing. Just a little adjustment. Just a little adjustments, bro.
Right enough. With that being said, man, this is a wrap. This is a wrap. I think we gave y'all enough wisdom to last you for a long time, though. You gotta digest later on. I'm gonna get Twine on the podcast and we can really break it down for y'all. Peace. It's Twine, man. What's the business name?
www.tristate-properties.com. Check us out on the web. Check us out on Facebook. We in the city. Get with us. Real estate is key.
Let's go. All right, y'all. As always, personal in Philadelphia. I'm out.